Hello, everybody. You might notice that I sound not the best, and that is because I am sick. Unfortunate, and I'm sorry for how my voice sounds, but anyways. But since I'm sick, that means that I got to finish the drawing that I've been working on for the past far too long than it should have taken me. But now I can finally make a video about it, and I'm very excited, so let's get started. So going into this drawing, I already knew basically what I wanted because this idea came to me very suddenly, very randomly, and it's a very basic idea. Like, apple pie themed grandma probably isn't groundbreaking by any means, but it got me so excited, and I wanted her to be an animal because, I don't know, the idea of like an animal like person or something getting so fascinated by human food and specifically apples made me like really excited to do this character. And I like flip-flopped between like fish and like maybe a different animal, and my boyfriend said, how about like an owl? And I was like, wait, how about a barn owl? Because if you've ever seen like a barn owl's face, it kind of looks like an apple sliced in half, and then it all just clicked into place. So I immediately got started on some like planning. So what I personally like to do before creating a character is do a little sheet where I write down my ideas and do some little doodles, which is what I'm doing right now, right here. And I drew like obviously a little sketch of a barn owl, a little sketch of a dress, and then I started drawing the owl and I realized, wait, she has wings. I can't give her poofy sleeves. And that stumped me for a second. And then I also realized that I wouldn't sketch her head the same way that I would sketch a person's face, and that stumped me for a little bit. But I got there. It wasn't too hard, especially with the angle I was drawing at. It was pretty like, it was a pretty easy flow of stuff. So after that, obviously, I transitioned into the sketch. And as for sketching the grandma, it was not that hard. I had a really good time. I liked drawing a new animal that I've never really drawn before and personifying it. I liked drawing the dress. I liked drawing the pie, all the little details. But then I started trying to draw the background, and reality settled in for me that I am really, really bad at backgrounds, especially backgrounds that are not like organic. So I sat and I struggled with the straight lines and the oven and the curtains for a while. It doesn't look like that long, but this is an 8 times speed, so also a little side note, I'm still not used to the fact that when I record my screen, I'm recording my screen because that's where Clip Studio Paint is. It's on my computer. And you can see like the music I'm listening to, the videos I'm watching. I don't really mind. I think what I watch and listen to is pretty awesome and cool because I like it. So it's not that big a deal. It's just a little funny and maybe a little bit cringy sometimes, but that's okay. And also, as you can tell, I've already started doing line art, which, by the way, I did line art like a couple days later. Like, I started sketching that background and I was like, nope, I need a break. And then I immediately like took a couple days off, which was so unnecessary, but also really funny to think about. And again, the line art for the owl character herself wasn't really that hard. I did pull up like a couple references every now and then to look at like how other people draw personified owls, how owl wings actually look in real life. So I adjusted them a little bit from the sketch, but other than that, I didn't really struggle too much with it. I did fidget around with the latticing, like on the pie and the dress for quite a while, but it wasn't too bad for the pie. I originally had a different type of cutout on top and then decided to just go with like the traditional, like one over the other type of look. And then for the dress, I did fidget with that like latticing pattern on it for a little bit, and then just ultimately decided to leave it blank and try and mess with it later and decide if I actually wanted it to have that pattern or not. So, and then after that came my least favorite part, which was drawing the background but like with line art. The sketch was a lot easier because, well, the messy look hides a lot of the mistakes, and the moment you remove the sketch, you realize I don't know how to draw a straight line, like at all. I've never done it before, apparently, and it was a struggle, specifically with the freaking oven. I sat there and messed with that oven for what felt like hours, but was probably more like maybe 30 minutes. I don't know. Time like froze and I was stuck in that place for a really long time, it felt like. It eventually got like so difficult for me to do that I stopped recording and I went off camera and tried to fidget with it some more. And honestly, it doesn't even look any better. So I don't know what I did for like another 30 minutes off camera, but I definitely tried. But then we got to my favorite part, which is coloring, of course. And I had a sort of general idea with what I wanted to do, which was obviously like an apple pie colored themed dress. So like red, beige, maybe a little bit of brown, a little bit of green. And I had flipped through some colors really quickly, like a bunch of color options, and took a screenshot and sent them to my boyfriend and made him decide because I was struggling so hard to decide. But when I came to my decision, I realized I drew a background and I had to color it. So I tried to start by like laying down like random flat colors that were just like brown and boring, and I didn't like it. So I stopped, and then I took like another week-long break for some reason. I don't know. And then I came back and tried to do like setting down sheer base colors to try and make everything more cohesive. And I ended up basically just sticking with that. I still don't really love it, but I think it works well enough. It's okay-ish. And I did fidget around with it for a while, so maybe my eyes just adjusted and it doesn't look as bad as I first felt and thought it did. But I mean, after fidgeting with that for a while, I got to do the shading on the owl, which is what I was the most excited for. I love drawing and coloring and shading characters. It's my absolute favorite part, clearly. And I do really like how she came out. I think she's super cute. I think she's super fun. And I made this character specifically to try and convince my boyfriend to put her in our D&D campaign, and since I finished it, I think he's going to, and I'm so excited. I love her so much. Despite my background struggles, I do really like how this drawing came out, and I can ignore the background pretty easily personally, so and when I was doing the shading, I decided that the dress did look really plain since I didn't go with that latticing, and decided to add some little stitching details and added some to the apron and stuff. And I think that was a really cute and fun idea that I had. I really like that part. That might be like one of my favorite parts of the drawing, maybe other than just the owl herself, because I don't know, drawing an owl was so fun. But then after that, I fidgeted with the background a little bit more and the colors, trying to see if anything would help it. And I landed on something that was okay enough, and that was basically it. I did a little outline to make her pop out more, and it was done. Despite my struggles with the background and how much I don't really like it, I think it turned out really well, and I hope you guys like her too. Bye!